Alright, so we've got some foil-faced insulation. We got our box with our chainsaw and all the stuff for the chainsaw. We got a tote full of scrap pieces of wood. We got some tools back there. We've got some spray foam insulation and some spray paint in the bag. Looks like we're ready to go insulate a deer blind. Hey there, outdoor YouTubers. It's Dave Knetter from Knetter's Practical Outdoors. And like I said earlier, we're taking another ride into the camp and we're going to work on that deer blind a little bit. Got my sons with me again. I got Nick back here. And got Peter behind the camera right now. And thought you guys might want to take a little ride with us. So, what the deal is, guys, we got this deer blind, and it's in sections. If you've been following along, we had to do some repairs to it. We had some porcupines chewing on this deer blind when it was out in the woods. So we hauled it in sections, and we're doing kind of the repairs, but I also want to insulate this deer blind, okay? And obviously there's many ways to do that sort of thing. But for us, this deer blind is in a pretty hard location to get to. That's why the deer blind is in sections, because we have to haul it out one wall at a time. And even at that, it's kind of difficult. So the weight of the sections means a lot. This isn't a deer blind that we can just throw in the back of a pickup truck and drive it to the location where we want it. You really can't even drive a four-wheeler or anything like that to this spot where this deer blind is going. So we're trying to not overdo it with the weight. Now, if you were insulating a house, you've got like the outside of the house, like the outside of the wall, okay? Then you've got a layer of insulation, then you've got an inside wall. Well, because we want to keep these sections of deer blind a little bit on the lighter side, or as light as we can, we're not going with an inside wall. So we're going to be insulating it with this foil-faced insulation, okay? We're going to be cutting it to size and basically fitting it inside the different sections of the deer blind, okay? So how do we attach this to the deer blind? And that's a little bit of a trick, and I've done this before in other deer blinds, and this really works really well. So like I said, we're going to be kind of cutting foil-faced to size, fitting it into these slots where it'll go. And then from the other side, we're going to run a screw in through the outside wall, through the insulation, and into a block of wood. It'll be sitting about like that. And then that screw, hopefully we got the exact right size screws, where it just screws into this block a little ways, and then that's it. And it actually presses that insulation nice and tight against the wall and holds it there. Of course, you don't want to screw from this side into the wall. It'll kind of go through the insulation, or you'll have the point of the screw sticking out on the outside of the wall, and you don't want any of that. Okay, but this is kind of a decent way to get some good insulation on your walls without actually having an interior wall to hold the insulation in place. And I like to use this foil face stuff, okay? I know a lot of you guys are probably familiar with the pink 4x8 sheets of insulation you can get. Well, I like to go with this foil faced because you can kind of paint it, okay? And I'm kind of a big believer in having the inside of your deer blind kind of nice and dark, at least in the areas that a deer might be able to see in through your shooting openings. Okay, so what we're going to wind up doing is we're going to be painting over this, and these take paint pretty good. Okay, they take paint a lot better than the pink insulation does. The pink insulation almost breaks down when it gets painted, kind of a chemical reaction, and it kind of starts to pit and break down a little bit. But this foil face, it'll hold paint pretty good. Sometimes you got to give it 2 coats, but it does hold paint pretty good. So I like to have it nice and dark all around, behind me, on the sides of me. Kind of keeps it nice and dark in the deer blind. Deer really can't see movement as easy coming from inside the deer blind. And one thing you'll notice when we get to this point is I do like to leave the bottom couple feet of the deer blind, you know, the bottom couple feet of the walls, the interior walls, unpainted. I like having the lower parts of the deer blind unpainted, because when you're inside the deer blind in low light conditions, it makes it a lot easier to see stuff in and around where you're sitting. You know, whether you got a drink that's sitting on the floor, it's easy to see it and pick it up. Your cell phone, binoculars, a deer call, maybe even your gun when it's sitting in the corner of the deer blind. It kind of, you can make it out a lot easier against this light color, but I don't want that light color in and behind me, you know, in an area where the deer might be able to see my silhouette moving against a light background. So the upper, say 2/3 of the deer blind, we want that nice and dark. The lower part, just for me being able to see things on the inside, we're going to leave that unpainted. Okay, so I had one of my viewers kind of ask me about the camp roof right here. He thought maybe we had a nail sticking up under the shingle, and that was nice of him to point it out, but it's just that this area of the camp roof is very rippled. We had done some repair jobs in this area in the past, and then we just kind of put the shingles on right over it. So that's really all this is. Just not a real nice flat surface that we put the shingles down on, but I do appreciate that viewer mentioning it, because if we did have a nail sticking up there, I certainly would want to take care of it. And kind of like that. That. And then any little gaps that we have, we're just going to fill in with spray foam. So we don't have to be real perfect with this. Okay, so I'm going to drill a screw from the outside of the wall in, and as soon as I can see it poking out, I'll put this little piece of wood over it, screw it in the rest of the way, and it should really pull this piece of foil face nice and tight against the wall. Okay, there's my screw. Take this little piece of wood. There. Now this is on there nice and tight. I've tried glue before, but I think just the expanding and contracting of these small walls actually kind of makes the glue separate a lot of times. Glue doesn't really adhere to this foil face real good. So I found this really seems to work the best.
I'll wait for the screw to pop out then, or...
Yeah. See it yet?
Yeah, it's about right here.
Okay.
Good.
Is it in there?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, sticks out a little bit.
All right. Yeah. Just that little bit in bad.
There you go.
And we'll do one right there.
Sure.
Got her?
All right. Good. Good. I don't know if I have too many. Oh, I got it.
Yeah, there's a few right there. Get the one below it.
Yep. Yep. Try to get one up in the bulk of it at the top there.
Let's see. Go ahead. All right. So this is what they look like. Got all the insulation on them. And we'll be doing the roof actually when it's out in the woods, because the roof kind of comes unassembled. We'll be assembling the roof out in the woods, but there, got that. Gaps up here. Just kind of like that.
Delicious.
Nothing too fancy.
Just want me to do that with fire.
What's that?
Just want me to do it these other ones.
Yeah, any of them you want.
Are you just going to be doing it in like all the cracks?
Yeah, I think I'll do it on all the seams, even if they look kind of tight. Probably would. I'm gonna call it dead.
You sure?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so we just fill in the gaps with the spray foam, and we'll be painting this up the next time. We're not going to paint it this time because the spray foam is obviously wet still. So we'll let that dry up and then we'll paint them. Alright guys, well, we kind of ran out of time as far as the firewood goes, but we got the blind all insulated up and we were able to check the game camera, but we're on a little bit of a time schedule today, so we didn't really have enough time for the firewood. I think both my sons were okay with that. They didn't seem to put up too much of a fight when I said we wouldn't be doing firewood. But anyways guys, hey, remember to hunt, fish, laugh, repeat. This is Dave Knetter for Knetter's Practical Outdoors. Hey, thanks for watching and God bless.